Hello everyone and welcome. So glad that you're here. We're going to start looking at the 6.3 lesson on multiplying polynomials by monomials and polynomials. So on that first slide, you can put your name, and when you're all set, push ahead to slide 2. As a reminder, this is a video. Excuse me, so pause the video at any point if you need to take down notes or take some extra time or maybe even take a break. Do and move at the pace that feels best to you, okay? When we're multiplying monomials with polynomials, we are using the distributive property often. So in this first example, we have this 3x that is in front of the parentheses. I like to think of when the distributive property comes up, I like to think that the 3x is showing up and knocking on the door. And the door is the parentheses. So when the 3x knocks, it is going to come inside and meet x squared, and it's also going to meet y. So the distributive property says that we need to distribute this 3x term using multiplication. So we have 3x times x squared plus 3x times y. And then we can just simplify that. 3x times x squared. This is an x to the first times an x squared. 1 plus 2 gets us 3 x's in total. So we have a 3x cubed plus 3xy. Perfect. Simplified. Now we just have addition, and we cannot combine these terms using addition because they do not have the same variable part. X cubed and xy are different variable parts, so we cannot combine them. They're not like terms. So that's with the distributive property. Then we have, when we have two binomials, we have this FOIL method, F-O-I-L. And FOIL, the F stands for first. So first you're going to multiply the first terms of the binomial, which is x times x. And that gets us an x squared. The O is outside or outer. So then you're going to multiply the outside terms. X times -7, which is a -7x. I is inside. So then you're going to multiply these inside terms, -5 times x, which is a -5x. And then the L of FOIL is last. So we're going to do the -5 times -7, which gets us a positive 35. So now we have 4 terms in total, and we think, can any of these be combined using addition or subtraction? So x squared is going to stay as it is. There's no other x squared terms. We do have this -7x and -5x. They both just have an x, right? An x to the first power. So we can combine them. -7 minus 5 is a -12x. And then we have this plus 35. And that's our trinomial. That is our solution here. Beautiful. So we're going to do a bunch of different practice, all with multiplying these monomials and polynomials. When you feel all set, push ahead to slide 3. A lot of students really enjoy this strategy, which is called the box strategy. And what the box strategy does is it gives you a visual to make sure that everything is getting multiplied. So here's our first binomial, which is x plus 4. So I'm going to put an x up here and a positive 4. And then our second binomial is 2x and -6. And so now we've kind of put them outside of the boxes, and now we work within the boxes and multiply to get all 4 terms. So here's our first one, which is 2x times x, which gets us a 2x, hold on, I'm going to use black, squared, because x times x is x squared. So we just multiplied this times this to get that first box. Now over to the right, here's our next box. So we're going to multiply this 4 now by the 2x, which gets us an 8x. Down here in the bottom left, we have this x times negative 6, which is a negative 6x, and then 4 times negative 6, which is negative 24. So we have all 4 of our boxes filled, and now we can combine like terms, which is going to be this negative 6x and 8x can be combined. So we have our 2x squared. 8x minus 6x is 2x. And then we have this minus 24. Beautiful. And so that is our solution for multiplying these two binomials. So you can always use the box method if it's helpful for your brain to see it visually. Like, this is a great skill for working through these problems. Okay, here's slide 4. So we have our first one, which is negative 4x and a negative 8. And then we have 3x and a positive 7. So we have 3x times negative 4x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. X times x is an x squared. 7 times negative 4x is a negative 28x. 3x times negative 8 is a negative 24x. And negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. So here's our terms that we can combine because they both just have one x. So we have this negative 12x squared, that stays. Negative 28 minus 24. Ooh, I honestly don't know. Let's go to our calculator. Negative 28 minus 24 is negative 52x, and then we have that minus 56. Beautiful. Push ahead to slide 5 when you're ready. Here's another one. We have our first one, which is 2x plus 3. And our second one is an x squared. I'm going to use white, actually. X squared plus a 4x and then a negative 9. So now we have 2 terms multiplied by 3 terms. So we still set up the box the same way, only now there's a couple more boxes, but it's the same process of just doing one multiplication at a time. So this first one will be our 2x times x squared, which gets us 2x cubed, right? Because this is an x squared times x to the first, which is add those exponents when they have the same base and we're multiplying. 4x times 2x is an 8 for 4 times 2. X times x is x squared. Negative 9 times 2x is a negative 18x. Beautiful. Down below, we have a 3 times an x squared is 3x squared. 4x times 3 is 12x. And negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. Beautiful. And when we look for like terms that we can combine, we see this 2x cubed. There's no other x cubes, so that just stays as is. Then we see there's a 3x squared and an 8x squared, which gets us 11x squared. We have a 12x and a negative 18x, which gets us negative 18 plus 12 is negative 6x. And then we have our negative 27 constant all on its own. So first you just multiply all those boxes and then you find any like terms, right? Which means they have to have the same variable part. The variable part, the part with the letters, right? Like x squared, x, I like to think of as their last name, right? So they're like in the same family if they have the same variable part, so we can combine them. Beautiful. Let us look at slide 6 next. Okay. So we started talking, we got a little preview about the FOIL property, which over on the right we can see is first, outside, inside, last. That just, again, makes sure it guarantees that everything is being multiplied. So for this one, our first two terms are x times x, which gets us x squared. For the outside terms, we have x times 3, which gets us 3x. Inside, we have this 2 times x, which gets us 2x. And then last is 2 times 3, which gets us 6. When we combine everything, we have an x squared. 3x plus 2x is 5x, and then plus 6 as our final answer. Beautiful. Same thing on the right. First two terms is 2a times 3a, which is a 6, 2 times 3, and then a squared. Outside is 2a times 1, which is just 2a. Inside is 5 times 3a, which gets us 15a. And last is 5 times 1, which is just 5. So when we combine our like terms, we have this 6a squared. 2a plus 15a is 17a. And then we have that positive 5. Beautiful. And there's an example over on the right as well. You can see it drawn out. If you prefer this over the box method, you can always use this. If you like the box method better, you can always use the box method. So these are just kind of two different ways to multiply binomials. Let's look at slide 7. Distributive property with a trinomial. So these, we can't just do FOIL because there's more than just 4 multiplies. We're not just having 4 pairs of terms that are being multiplied. We have a little more. So what I like to think of is if we start with the 3x. We have 3x plus 4 times x squared minus 4x minus 6. So this 3x has to multiply by all 3 of the other terms. So we get 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. 3x times a negative 4x is a negative 12x squared. And 3x times negative 16, or negative 6 is negative 18x. So there's our first 3 terms. Then I look at the 4, our second term. And now the 4 has to multiply by all 3 terms. So we have 4 times x squared is a 4x squared. 4 times negative 4x, negative 16x. And 4 times negative 6 is a negative 24. And then we start to look at what we can combine. So here's an x cubed. There's no other x cubes. Here's an x squared. Here's an x squared. So those can be combined. Here's an x. Here's an x. So those can be combined. And then that's just a constant. So we have 3x cubed. A negative 12x squared plus 4x squared is going to get us a negative 8x x squared